Hi. I'm just de-stressing from dropping off my 11-year-old daughter. And she forgot a lunchbox, so it was a massive drama and she was asking me to go and drop it off. Sadly, I don't have time to drop it off because I've got a session coming up in 40 minutes. So I'm releasing myself from the stress of that, and I'm now sitting in my car, as you can see. And when I got back in this car, the feeling of comfort was just so good. To feel the safety and the comfort, and it just to be me for a little while feels so good. I want to talk to you today about solitude. So my discovery of solitude comes in many different forms, and as I just spoke about, just getting into my car and feeling that tiny little moment of solitude, feeling that tiny little moment of when it was just me and I didn't have to deal with the responsibilities and all the activations of other people's needs around me. I could just basically feel that moment of solitude was really nourishing and really, really good for me. However, there's also, as we know, there's like a deeper, more expansive sense of solitude, right? And I just want to share with you really quickly my journey with it, my journey with solitude. And I'm just going to rewind actually and go back 15 years. So 15 years ago, I embarked on a Vipassana 10-day silent meditation retreat. So this was way before my girls were born, and I jumped in my car and I drove down south 300 and odd miles to go to a meditation retreat. Now at that time I thought I needed it. At that time I was on that path and I thought I needed it, and in some ways I did, and I received a lot from it. But in other ways, in hindsight, looking back now, and if I had the opportunity now, or I created the opportunity to go on a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat, it would be a whole different thing, because now I crave that. And I sometimes think about having 10 days of solitude, no phone, no communication with anybody, just to be with oneself. And you know what? I might actually get myself on another one of those courses or something similar at some point in my life. However, when I went there all those years ago, I had no idea of how much a human being would really need that space to just be. And at that time also, I didn't know at the time, but I was very early on pregnant with my first daughter. So I was only about 4 or 5 weeks pregnant with her. And I actually found out that I was pregnant with her on the way home from that retreat. And when I was there, I was really nauseous and I couldn't focus, and I kept thinking and counting up the days and wondering if I could be pregnant or not. So I spent all of that 10 days actually counting up in my mind numbers. And it's funny to think about that, because when I think about the Vipassana retreat, all I think about was, you know, the time when I was spending wondering whether I was pregnant or not and feeling really ill. But as I say, if I had the opportunity now, it would be so different, so different. But yeah, anyway, on the way home, I found out that I was pregnant with my first daughter. So it was a pretty great experience, to say the least. But now the idea of solitude, and okay, so I was about to say yesterday as well, when I have been binge watching some stuff with my partner. We've been binge watching Game of Thrones, right? And the prequel to that, so House of the Dragon. So if you've watched it, you know it. It's hard to put it down. It's really good stuff. And I was quite delighted when it all finished, because then I felt like I could get my life back a little bit. And I'm not really one for sitting in front of the TV. I used to go around and cover up TVs. I don't like when I go into somebody's house and the TV's on. I just feel really agitated by it. So for me to sit and watch things on binge, there's something happening there, right? There's a kind of sense of switching off and enjoyment and getting time with my partner and things. But there's also the other side of it where I feel really drained by it. And I said to myself, like, that's it, no more, we're done. Now I want to pay more attention to my life. Now I want to really meet the empty spaces, and I want to really see what's in those empty spaces. So I'm in this little process of solitude in so many levels, because it is winter here in Scotland. And I also don't want to see a lot of people. And I also feel like I'm going through some transition where I am practicing being in the empty moments, which are actually really full, as we know, but the moments that look empty. So for instance, last night I just lay on my bed with no distraction, no book, no phone, no nothing, and I really needed the I was going to say comfort, but it's not the comfort. I really needed the strength that the empty space was offering me, if that makes any sense. And sometimes in the empty space as well, or in the quiet space, there's a lot of pain stuff that could come up, and stuff that maybe I don't necessarily want to look at. However, I can feel my soul taking me there. It's like I spoke in a video last week as well about that kind of, something's drawn me closer towards myself, closer towards a meditation all the time, closer towards stillness. And it's almost like I can't deny it. I can't deny when I need solitude. I can't deny when I need to just lie in the empty place where there's no distractions. But as I say, it's a really full and inviting place where I can meet myself. So, as I said, you might meditate, you might close your eyes and go to your really deep space as well. And whatever works for you, however you find that place to meet yourself. But I'm also aware of just sitting in I'm going to say the nothingness, but just sitting where you're doing nothing. You've not got the phone, or you've not got a conversation, you've not got a podcast, you've not got anything that's coming at you. Simply, you've made the space for yourself. So what does that look like for you? Like, what can you imagine? Can you relate to what I'm saying, where something's kind of calling you to be still, to pay attention, to really connect with you, to really connect with yourself, and find out who you are. I mean, we grow up with so much distraction, and we grow up with so much of other people's stuff put onto us. So how do we really know who we are? And I'm noticing for me that I just have to be really still. And I do get it when I go out for walks in nature. The solitude there is so loud because nature and her hum and her vibration and her support is so loud. And it's loudly beautiful. And it's very grounding, as we know. So there's a beautiful solitude practice that I can receive there. But the hardest thing for me is to connect with solitude in my own house, because I don't know about you, but every time I walk in my house, everything speaks to me. Like my washing pile speaks to me. The dishes speak to me. The stuff that's lying over the floor that I'd picked up before is now lying there again, kind of thing. All that stuff speaks to me. So, and these things can be, you might call them triggers as well, and having to be able to work with each one of those. So there's only so much that your body can take. There's only so much that your nervous system can take. And what I've realised, that actually by going and maybe watching stuff is still stimulation. So I have to release the stimulation for me. It's like one of the only ways I'm realising that I can get connected with myself in a much deeper level. So I didn't want this video to be too long. I'm aware that it's now 7 minutes, nearly 8 minutes. So let me know how you find your solitude. Let me know what it feels like when you go there, or when you meet that place. Or do you go away somewhere for solitude? I made a big mistake recently where 2 friends of mine asked me to go away with them to a beautiful little bothy up in the hills in Scotland, and I went, and it was nice. But what I realised was I should have went by myself. Oh my God, I needed to be by myself so much, and I'm going to take myself to that bothy one day. And you know what? I'll bring you with me and you can check it out. You can tell me what you think, because it's just so amazing. Anyway, so how do you find your solitude? What do you do? What do you need? I'd love to hear in the comments. And what do you feel like when you know that you've had the nourishment from solitude? I'd love to hear. So thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.